Hey guys, welcome back to the lab. Today at the bench, I am putting the finishing touches on this spine piece so it can go back on the book. So I've trimmed out the excess so there's no overhanging material that's like pickable to prevent this piece from being damaged any further, hopefully. And now I'm about to apply leather consolidant to the outside of this piece. And as I mentioned in a previous episode, this does a couple of things. It keeps the red rot, like how this leather has degraded into that powdery, like when you touch it, it gets all over your fingers. It keeps that from happening to an extent, so it consolidates that red rot. And it also prevents the water-based adhesive I will apply to the backside of this to attach it to the book. It will prevent that water in that adhesive from wicking through and permanently darkening the front of this leather piece. So I mentioned in a previous episode working on the same book that I don't like to use cotton balls when working with consolidant. And that's definitely the case if there's a lot of finished leather that's cracked, because the cotton ball can get down in those cracks and pull the finished leather loose. This spine piece, I'm making an exception because a lot of the finished leather is gone and there's a lot more red rot and there's like more depth to the leather. So I really want to wick out the excess consolidant on this spine piece. And there is less threat of the finished leather, what's left, kind of flaking off. Although you'll see a little tiny piece fell off right there at the end of the spine piece. And now I am removing any loose paper backing from the back of this leather spine piece. So when this was originally made, it was stamped like onto paper. It had a paper backing. And not all of this paper is still adhered to the leather. And what will happen, because if I just put the adhesive on this paper and stick it on the new material on the book, there will be kind of big air bubbles or gaps that already exist between this paper and the leather. And so those will pull loose eventually just through handling. Like somebody might manage to get a fingernail up under them at the edge of the this spine piece. So I like to prep this any leather that I am kind of reapplying back onto the book. I like to make sure that anything like linings that are loose, that I remove them if possible, because it just limits the possibility of future damage to this piece, and it means it will adhere better. And I am brushing out my work area because if any of these little pieces of paper or if a bit of leather winds up under this spine piece while I'm working with my micro spatula, and I run across it, it can certainly damage or poke a hole in this old leather. And so I just like to keep my work area pretty clean while I'm doing this. Okay, so now that I have removed all of the paper lining that will come off, and there's the front of the piece with the leather consolidant, I'm going to apply the same leather consolidant to the back side. And again, this, so if the leather is consolidated, the water-based adhesive will stick better because it isn't, like I said, wick through the leather to, first of all, show on the front side as dark spots with that water wicking through. And second, it provides a kind of a better base for the adhesive to work because you're not like immediately drying out your adhesive by putting it on extremely dry leather. You're putting it on a slightly sealed surface. And so it just seems to work better. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in this week. And next week, we will be working on the same book. And so be sure to subscribe to show the lab some love. And thanks for watching.